Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
The pianist at our church is truly amazing. I showed up one Wednesday night, planning to sing a solo that was just a tad too high for my voice. While we practiced, she suggested we could take it down a half step or so. I was shocked. I said, "Can we do that?" She said, "Oh, sure," in an offhanded way, and then proceeded to play it in a completely different key. Let me tell you, no matter how easy she makes that sound, it's not. It's harder than reading written words in one language and speaking them in another. But God does something even more difficult in our lives. In Colossians 1:13, it says that He has delivered us from the power of darkness and translated us into the kingdom of His dear Son. As I read that, I was intrigued. I love different languages and translating them from one to another. I'm an interpreter for the deaf by trade, so choosing the right words with the right nuance that communicates in the original language is what I do every day. Most translations of the Bible use the word transferred instead of translated in this context. But when I looked up the word to see what it meant in the Greek, it had more the flavor of transposing, which is what our pianist did for my not quite soprano voice. When the Lord saved us, He moved us to a much better place. Maybe it was like He moved us from a dark-sounding minor key to a joyous major key. But I don't even think that analogy works well enough. When He saves us, we stay in the same place physically. We're in the same house, go to the same job, we're married to the same spouse, but we're on a completely different plane. We don't just have an X and Y axis, we have a Z as well. Our lives are 3D. We're living in the kingdom of Jesus. Remember when Pilate had Jesus on trial and he asked, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." Now, at the beginning of Jesus' ministry, both Jesus and John the Baptist preached, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection ushered in that kingdom. It's not of this world, but when we're saved, we're translated, transposed, transferred, however we get there. We're citizens of a completely different kingdom, a kingdom that we can begin to experience here on earth, but we will fully enter it when we die. This change that occurs in us at the time of salvation apparently doesn't translate well from heaven's language into any of men's languages, because it's called so many different words, even in English, each of these words with a different nuance referring to the same thing. Like the words redemption, deliverance, liberation, restoration, rebirth, sanctification, forgiveness, regeneration, justification, atonement, reconciliation, salvation. It's discussed with many colorful phrases. Like in 1 Peter 2:9, it says, "We were called out of darkness into His marvelous light." The power of darkness has no control over those in His kingdom. We aren't under its influence. Our character has been transformed. We're brought out from an oppressive government into freedom. We were once slaves to sin in a deep, dark dungeon, but He rescued us. Whatever it is, and however God does it, aren't you glad He does? Have you been transferred, transposed, and translated into Jesus' kingdom? How has your life changed because of it?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a treasure God has given you by doing an episode, please contact us. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you'll find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.